As golfers, we know two universal truths. One, bunkers suck. And two, there is way too much bunker tutorial content out there. So I watched over 40 hours of bunker tutorials on YouTube to figure out how to stop sucking at bunkers. And this video is about the 5 best videos I found, which turned me from a bunker blow up into a bunker, I'd say I'd call it badass. It's not bad. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Fair warning, these videos are mostly targeted at intermediate or advanced golfers, so they might be a little overwhelming if you're a total beginner. But hey, never too early to learn, and just add them to your compendium. Hi everyone, great to have you here. I'm Manu, a full-time desk jobber, part-time golfer, but all-time golf obsessor. And on this channel, we explore strategies to help you shoot lower scores and play happier, all without spending years at the range. If it's your first time here, welcome, and I hope you find this helpful. And if you stick around at the end, I noticed there was one thing that none of the videos talked about, but in my experience is hands down the most important thing that I've learned about playing out of bunkers. So once we're done with the 5, we'll talk through that one as well. All right, let's get going. Our first video is Rory on me and my golf. This is hands down the best bunker video I've ever seen. The great thing about this video is Rory talks about the new square stance that apparently all the pros are now using because it's much more consistent. I'd been taught the old open stance method, which for me was really unreliable, but this new square stance method is much more consistent and actually kind of easier to do once you get the hang of it. I also love that they have Rory hit a bunch of great shots in this video. You really get a great idea for rhythm and tempo and just what the structure looks like. And I mean, who better than Rory to have as your muse for just a perfect, beautiful looking bunker swing. The major keys that stuck out for me in this video were the setup, which I thought he explained super well, the swing as well. Little things like the club path determines the direction the ball's going to go in. He always hits in the same spot behind the ball, regardless of whether it's a long shot or a short shot. You'll notice this is the same as what, say, JDay talks about in video 4. And then other things like really trusting your loft. So what's missing from this video is the other conditions that are fairly important and where you need to make adjustments. So things like uphill, downhill lies, plug lies, and stuff. That's why we have the other 4 videos. Our second video is from Paddy's Golf Tips. If you haven't subscribed to Paddy's Golf Tips yet, go subscribe to Paddy's Golf Tips. The content is absolutely magical. It is incredible, especially for advanced golfers. I find this to be an absolute gold mine of information. And this bunker video is no different. What really makes it stand out for me is that A, he uses the same square stance that Rory talks about, and B, he covers all these different conditions. So he covers the uphills, the downhills, the plug lies, and he says some really valuable stuff. Some of the major keys, for example, for me were things like you don't always have to open the club face all the way. It might be better for you. And then the one I really liked is something that a lot of pros don't really acknowledge because I guess it doesn't matter for them as much, but he said on long bunker shots, you just have to be brave, which I think is a huge thing, especially because most of us think that bunkers are terrifying. The thing that's missing from this video, in my opinion, is Paddy doesn't talk a lot about exactly how the club moves under the ball or through the ball. That's something Rory does talk about throwing the club head past the ball. Paddy does mention not to have a lot of shaft lean, but it's not something that he really expounds on, and that's something that would be good to know. Let's move on to videos 3, 4, and 5 and really understand how to get like a full feel for different ways of doing it and how you can adapt and become more creative. Our third video is from Sir Nick Faldo. Now, I'm a huge fan of Sir Nick. The way that he experiments with all these little things and talks about these different ways of approaching the swing are just absolutely fantastic, and I found them to be super helpful in my game. This video is no exception. It's a really short video, but he talks about a bunch of different things, mostly other people's styles. Also, Sir Nick is generally upbeat, so he gets 2 thumbs up. What really stood out to me in this video was the way that A, he was really cognizant of other people's swings and the way they hit the ball, and B, he could replicate them. So he shares all these different creative ways. So he talks about Gary Player, Sevi, Ernie Els, and of course himself, and you can start seeing their commonalities as well as some of the differences they have. The major keys that stuck out for me were actually noticing the commonalities, like everybody has their weight forward, but at the same time seeing the differences, like they have completely different stances and they might approach it with different speeds. Watching this video gave me the confidence to try different stances from different kinds of lies, which really helped me because there were some things I was stuck with in the past. There's also one thing he says in passing that I think is super important and no one else says it in exactly the same way, which was pick your landing spot. Everyone else kind of talks about hitting the ball, aiming at the target, but no one says these words, and I think they're super, super important. What's missing from this video, obviously, because it's a really short one, is it doesn't provide a lot of actual instruction on how to hit the ball or how to execute these shots from different lies. So this is better as kind of a supplementary video and not really your one-stop shop, but still a fantastic one to add to your arsenal, especially if you're thinking about how to be creative in the bunker and adapt your swing to your own idiosyncrasies while still getting great results. Video 4 is actually 2 videos, but they're basically the same thing. These are the Taylormade videos of Tiger and DJ, and then Tiger and JDay hanging out in the bunkers talking about their different techniques for different kinds of shots. First, I'd like to shake the hand of whoever came up with this idea at Taylormade, because these videos are like a drug. There's like 35, 40-minute videos, and I'm happy to watch over and over again, because it feels like you're hanging out the range with your buddies Tiger and DJ and Rory and JDay, and just like a standard Saturday. Yeah, that's what we do all the time. So what makes this video stand out to me is that all these pros have the little things that they work around, their own idiosyncrasies. Like Tiger's got this little thing called a fused back. DJ actually doesn't rotate the face a lot because he likes to have that forward shaft lean. And JDay has this huge body turn that he uses all the time. It's really interesting to hear their different techniques and how they adapt to their automatic swings and the things that they prefer. The other thing I love about these videos, because the videos are fairly long, you actually get a solid feel for distances, different kinds of clubs, different kinds of trajectories, what to do with uphill lies, plug lies, all this other great stuff. And so that makes these videos basically hanging out with your buddies and a gold mine of information. In terms of major keys, there's so many great ones to experiment with. Things like DJ talking about how he hits every shot with shaft lean, which you might remember in video 2, Paddy said, don't hit shots with shaft lean. So that's interesting. Tiger talks about leaning more on his left side when he wants to hit softer shots. Both Tiger and JDay talk about hitting the exact same spot behind the ball regardless of what kind of shot it is, something that Rory also said in video 1. Tiger talks about trying to draw his bunker shots all the time. Both Tiger and DJ talk about how they chop down and just stop the club when they're hitting on plug lies. There's just tip after tip, so many great things that just stood out. And then you've got that long bunker shot that Tiger hits, which is just... What's missing from this video is a clear set of instructions on what to follow, because while you get a good feel for what these 3 players do, it's really hard to copy them. They've all kind of adapted the swings that they have for the bunkers based on the variations in their swings and their preferences. The other thing that I love Tiger, but it's really hard for me to understand Tiger about 30% of the time, because he has his own lingo, and he's saying stuff with feel and kind of like genius level up here. If you watch this other Taylormade video, JDay also mentions that too, which is hilarious. Can you talk like a normal person? Finally, these videos don't cover anything about fairway bunkers, so here's my favorite fairway bunker tutorial. Back to our champ Rory, who does a fantastic job with Taylormade describing how to hit a good fairway bunker shot. What makes this stand out for me is, again, like the first video, Rory does a fantastic job of laying out kind of the core considerations for hitting a fairway bunker shot. And they actually have this really convenient set of 9 tips they list during the video, which you could effectively just write down on a piece of paper and take to the course next time and go through it as a checklist before you hit your next fairway bunker shot. That might not be a bad idea. The major keys that stuck out for me in this video, besides the 9 that they list, were Rory talking about trying to play all the fairway bunker shots pretty flat-footed, trying to pick the ball off the sand, and how he hates swinging hard, and so he always takes an extra half club if needed. Those are fantastic tips, and I've integrated them into my fairway bunker routine, and I think that just on their own, they make this fairway bunker video a totally must-watch video. Now, from a what's missing perspective, like the other video from Rory, this is a fantastic intro video, but I'd love a little bit more detail on what to do with different kinds of lies, different kinds of slopes, etc., besides just the upslope they discuss. And so I think that warrants a little bit more research into other fairway bunker videos. If that's something you think is interesting, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll make one about fairway bunkers as well. Now, that is some great content. To make it actionable when I'm on the course, I've summarized it into what I call the 6 S's for sand success. Try saying that 10 times fast. The 6 S's are a stable stance, structured swing, and a strong state. Let's talk about strong state for a second, because I found it's hands down the most important part of getting good at bunkers. And also, this channel is called the Upbeat Golfer, not the Scaredy Cat Golfer. Now, even though those are the 5 best bunker videos I've found, and they're fantastic, they all missed out on the one most important thing for amateurs, which is that bunkers are terrifying, or at the very least, worrying. And that kind of mindset is a recipe for disaster. Here's why. Imagine you have a friend who hits a ball, lands in a bunker, and is scared of the whole thing. So this ball lands in the bunker. Are the thoughts in their head positive or negative? Probably negative. Now, as they approach the ball and start to take their setup, what's their body look like? Is it tense or is it relaxed? For most of us, it's going to be pretty tense, especially with all those negative thoughts. So those negative thoughts create that tense body, and actually there's a little bit of a loop here where that tense body probably also pushes around a few more negative thoughts up there. Now, based on these negative thoughts and a tense body, what kind of outcome is a shot going to have? It's probably not good, right? So you end up with a bad result, which definitely not going to help. And then that bad result is going to reinforce all those negative thoughts, and as you go through the round, it snowballs. Eventually you end up in what I call the vortex of doom, which is the worst place that you want to end up when you're playing a round of golf. And it's usually why your round can often deteriorate as you move down into the round. So if you walk into a bunker shot being fearful, it significantly reduces the chances you're going to hit a good shot, regardless of how many tips you might have read. I know, just saying be confident didn't really work for me either. So here are 4 things I came up with to ease my nerves and get a little perspective so I could be more confident in the bunkers. First, because we're hitting the sand and not the ball, bunkers require a lot less precision than shots off the fairway or tight chips. Number 2, most bunker shots are short, so you don't have to swing super hard to get the ball out, which means we can make swings with nice tempo and rhythm and just kind of focus on hitting good shots versus having to try to kill the ball. Number 3, it's just one shot. And number 4, now we know the 5 best videos to use to absolutely master this technique, so we're good to go. The links to the videos are in the description below, and I put them into a handy playlist right here. Please leave me a comment if anything resonated with you or if you have any questions, and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.